The Dallas Cowboys have made a move that many fans saw coming, but it still hits hard given how important the defensive coordinator role is for any NFL team. Matt Eberflus is out, and for a team that had high hopes heading into the season, this decision reflects the reality of what went wrong on the defensive side of the ball. Looking back at the year, it is hard to find a positive thread in the Cowboys' defensive performance. There were stretches where the team simply could not stop anyone, and the numbers tell the story more brutally than words ever could. Week after week, allowing over 30 points became almost the norm, and by the end of the season, the team had conceded over 500 points, the highest total in franchise history. To put that in perspective, at no other time in Dallas Cowboys history has the defense been so historically porous. This is not just a dip in form or a few bad games. This is a systemic collapse that demanded action. From the very start, there were questions about Eberflus' ability to adapt and adjust, and unfortunately, those concerns became reality. Games against the Giants, Chargers, Vikings, and Lions highlighted recurring weaknesses. In multiple instances, the defense allowed mid-30-point performances or higher, which in today's NFL makes winning extremely difficult. For a team aiming to compete at a championship level, allowing 30, 34, even 44 points in multiple games is unacceptable. It is not just about losing individual matchups. It is about creating a culture of accountability and execution on defense, and the Cowboys squad struggled to establish that under Eberflus. The decision to part ways was inevitable, even if it leaves fans anxious about yet another defensive coordinator search. Continuity is valuable, but not when it means keeping a unit that consistently underperforms. When you break down the numbers, it becomes clear why the move had to happen. Over the course of the season, Dallas allowed points at a pace unmatched in team history. Their performance placed them in the bottom tier across almost every defensive metric. Passing yards per game, rushing yards, yards per play, points per game, they were dead last or near the bottom in virtually every category. And it is not just the raw numbers. The impact on the game itself was apparent. When an offense scored efficiently against the Cowboys week after week, it was not a fluke. Opponents consistently exploited gaps in coverage, missed tackles, and a lack of strategic adjustments. The defense, for all intents and purposes, was unable to keep the team competitive in most games. Some will say that firing a coach is never easy, but the reality is that Eberflus had his chances. He had previously seen success in Chicago and Indianapolis and even showed promise with the Cowboys in earlier coaching roles. However, success in past positions does not automatically translate to the current situation. The team's roster has its strengths, but even with talented players, a defense cannot succeed without strategic leadership and the ability to adjust to in-game challenges. This year, adjustments were rare, and when they did occur, they often came too late or failed to address the fundamental weaknesses of the unit. Fans could watch in frustration as the same mistakes repeated themselves over and over, culminating in a historically bad defensive season. The firing also signals a deeper recognition that defensive struggles are not entirely on one individual. While Eberflus carried significant responsibility and ultimately could not deliver the results expected, the personnel and overall structure of the defense also need attention. It is one thing to swap a coordinator. It is another to ensure that the roster and schematics align with a plan for sustained success. Dallas must address all three levels of defense: line, linebacker, and secondary, if they hope to build a unit capable of competing for playoff success. Adding a new coordinator alone will not erase the deficiencies that plagued this defense throughout the season. There must be a holistic approach to personnel, coaching, and strategy if the Cowboys want to avoid repeating another disastrous year. In addition to the sheer number of points allowed, the defense failed to establish any sort of consistency. 9 games with 30 or more points conceded, 7 with 34, and multiple games with 35 points or higher. These numbers are more than concerning. They are game-changing. A team cannot win consistently under those conditions, and it is easy to see why management decided that a change was non-negotiable. It is not about personal feelings toward Eberfloss or loyalty to previous hires. It is about accountability and results. A historically poor defensive season required decisive action, and the Cowboys delivered that, even if it opens the door to uncertainty about the next coordinator. Looking forward, the task of finding a new defensive coordinator is critical. Fans and analysts alike will be watching closely to see how Dallas approaches this search. Past hiring practices have often been criticized for a lack of depth in the search process. The team cannot afford to repeat those mistakes, especially given the challenges that lie ahead. Conducting a thorough search, evaluating multiple candidates, and ensuring the new hire aligns with the team's vision is essential. The success of the next defensive coordinator will hinge not only on strategy and game planning, but also on the ability to instill confidence and execution in a defense that struggled under pressure all season. Ultimately, the firing of Matt Eberfloss is a clear signal that the Cowboys are committed to correcting course on defense. The team recognizes the historical failure of the unit this season and is willing to take the necessary steps to address it. While the search for a new coordinator may bring uncertainty, it is a move rooted in accountability, strategy, and the long-term goal of competitiveness. Fans should expect a more deliberate and thorough process in finding the next leader of the defense, someone capable of addressing both the tactical and personnel deficiencies that became apparent this year. The team's next steps will determine whether the Cowboys can return to being a dominant force on both sides of the ball or continue to struggle in critical moments. As the Cowboys look ahead to the offseason, the defensive coordinator search becomes the focal point of rebuilding this side of the ball. It is clear that simply filling the position with any coach will not suffice. The team needs someone who can blend strategy, adaptability, and leadership to restore stability and confidence in the defensive unit. The mistakes from this past season serve as lessons in urgency, emphasizing that hiring the right coordinator is about more than just experience. It is about vision and the ability to correct systemic flaws. In previous years, the search for defensive staff often lacked depth, but this time, the franchise must take a more deliberate approach. Interviewing multiple candidates, evaluating philosophies, and ensuring the person selected aligns with the team's overarching strategy will be crucial in turning around a historically struggling defense. Beyond the search for a new coordinator, the team must also address how the roster can support a more effective defense. Defensive issues are never the result of a single coach. Personnel gaps played a large role in the breakdown seen on the field. Weaknesses in the secondary allowed opponents to exploit passing lanes, while inconsistent play at linebacker and the defensive line failed to provide the pressure and containment required at the professional level. Even the most skilled coordinator would struggle to maximize performance without players capable of executing the plan. Therefore, alongside hiring a new leader, Dallas must evaluate its roster, looking for opportunities to strengthen key positions, add depth, and create a more versatile defensive scheme capable of adjusting to various offensive threats. The last season was a stark reminder that numbers matter, and in this case, they were alarming. Allowing over 500 points, with multiple games conceding well over 30, highlights a lack of consistency and a failure to adapt mid-game. Each week, the defense struggled to prevent scoring runs and failed to create turnovers that could swing momentum. Advanced metrics reinforce this reality, showing Dallas near the bottom of the league in yards per play, points allowed per game, and passing efficiency. The failure to keep opponents in check put the offense under immense pressure and contributed to a season that fell far short of expectations. Looking ahead, addressing these weaknesses requires a multifaceted strategy that includes coaching adjustments, player development, and a renewed focus on discipline and execution. One of the challenges facing Dallas is breaking free from past habits in hiring decisions. Historically, the team has often opted for limited searches, sometimes selecting coordinators without exploring a wide range of candidates. For long-term improvement, that cannot happen again. A comprehensive search is necessary, interviewing multiple candidates with varying styles and backgrounds. The goal is to find someone capable not only of implementing an effective scheme, but also of motivating players, teaching fundamentals, and adjusting strategy as situations demand. In a league where offenses constantly evolve, the new defensive leader must be dynamic, capable of innovating under pressure, and proactive in preventing the predictable breakdowns that plague the Cowboys this season. While this process unfolds, the franchise also needs to consider the broader culture of the defense. Beyond statistics, the players must trust the system and believe in their leadership. The previous season demonstrated how quickly frustration and lack of cohesion can compound errors on the field. Communication issues, missed assignments, and poor situational awareness were recurring problems, and instilling confidence and accountability will be just as important as any tactical adjustments. The new coordinator must foster a culture where players understand their roles, are empowered to make plays, and are prepared to adapt to the opposing offense. Without addressing these cultural elements, no amount of schematic sophistication will overcome fundamental defensive shortcomings. The transition will not be simple, but it offers an opportunity for Dallas to reshape its identity on defense. It is a chance to rebuild trust, elevate player performance, and establish a system that can compete consistently against top-tier offenses. By learning from the mistakes of the past season and approaching the coordinator search strategically, the Cowboys can lay the foundation for a more resilient and competitive defense. Every decision now, from hiring to roster adjustments, will have lasting effects on the team's performance and ability to contend in future seasons. This is a critical juncture where proactive leadership and clear strategic vision are paramount. Fans understandably feel anxious about the upcoming season and the uncertainty surrounding the defense. But there is also cause for cautious optimism. If the team executes a thoughtful search, selects a coordinator with the right blend of experience and innovation, and supplements the roster to address key weaknesses, the Cowboys can emerge stronger. It is a process that demands patience, diligence, and a willingness to make bold moves, yet it has the potential to transform a historically poor unit into a reliable and competitive defense. The lessons of the past season should inform every step, ensuring that errors are not repeated and that each move builds toward a cohesive, disciplined, and adaptable defensive team. Looking ahead, the pressure is on to balance short-term fixes with long-term planning. The Cowboys cannot simply apply Band-Aid solutions or hope that incremental changes will suffice. A comprehensive strategy is required, encompassing personnel evaluation, coaching adjustments, and cultural development. Only through an integrated approach can the team hope to reverse the deficiencies that became evident this year. For fans, the message is clear. The franchise recognizes the severity of the problem and is committed to taking the necessary steps to create a defense capable of competing at the highest level. Every week of the next season will be a test of how well these decisions translate into performance. The offensive side of the ball can only carry so much weight before defensive lapses become critical. A strong defensive coordinator, supported by an improved roster and a culture of accountability, is essential to ensure that the Cowboys can compete in every matchup. The lessons from last year underscore the importance of strategic hires, thoughtful roster management, and consistent execution on the field. While change can be unsettling, it is also an opportunity to reset and rebuild, laying the groundwork for a defense that can consistently complement the team's offensive strengths and help the Cowboys return to playoff contention. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. In a move that has sent shockwaves across the league, the Dallas Cowboys may have just rewritten the offseason playbook. Rumors are swirling that the team is closing in on a deal to bring superstar wide receiver Davante Adams to Dallas, a decision that could turn the Cowboys' offense into an outright nightmare for opposing defenses. While nothing is official yet, insiders suggest talks have been intense, and sources close to the organization hint that the pairing of Adams with the Cowboys' high-powered offense could be imminent. Adams, known for his incredible route running, sticky hands, and uncanny ability to find space in even the tightest coverage, has long been regarded as one of the most dangerous weapons in the NFL. The mere possibility of him suiting up in the silver and blue has sent fans into a frenzy, imagining the nightmare matchups this would create for cornerbacks across the league. If the rumors hold any weight, Dallas isn't just adding a receiver. They're potentially reshaping their offensive identity, signaling that they intend to compete at the highest level. The speculation is already dominating sports talk shows and social media feeds, with analysts dissecting how Adams' presence could impact the Cowboys' play calling. Questions abound. How will the coaching staff integrate him with the current roster? Can the quarterback-adjacent chemistry be achieved quickly enough to maximize his elite skills? And perhaps most intriguingly, what does this mean for the team's draft strategy moving forward? While official confirmation remains elusive, the mere rumor has injected a new sense of excitement into Dallas camp. Fans are envisioning highlight reel catches, critical third-down conversions, and an offense that defenses might struggle to contain. Across the league, other teams are likely reassessing their defensive game plans, wondering how to counter a unit that could now boast one of the most feared wide receivers in football. Whether it's a calculated gamble or a bold statement of intent, the Cowboys' alleged pursuit of Davante Adams is already being treated as a seismic shift in NFL circles. If the deal materializes, it wouldn't just be a headline. It would be a signal that Dallas is prepared to strike fear into defenses like never before. Until then, speculation continues, and the NFL world watches closely, knowing that the smallest confirmation could ignite a frenzy unlike any other. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.